I think the paint job's probably like a 6 out of 10. Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. So if you saw a couple videos ago, I was talking about buying a project car. So the last couple weeks I've been looking at an IS300 just because it's one of the earlier cars back when I was in college that I really wanted, but at the time I didn't have money, and you know, it was pretty expensive when they first came out in 2001, 2002. So I was really eyeing the manual version because those are pretty rare, especially these days, finding one for sale. There's usually only one or two posted, you know, all across the country. So I found two in Florida actually recently, and the first one, it was only like $4,000. It was pretty beat up, so I decided, you know, I wanted that one just as a project, but then that guy ended up selling it to some guy in New York. So I found another one that was pretty mint, and it was blue. So the blue one, it was pretty much a virgin. I mean, the only thing they did was lower it. I was like the second guy in line, and then some guy ended up buying it yesterday. So I decided to give up on finding a manual like sedan, and I actually found a Sportcross, which is the wagon, for a pretty good price in Orlando. So we're down, you know, visiting some family this weekend, and we're gonna go stop by and see it now. It's pretty clean from the photos. It's got like 190,000 miles. You know, my main thing was trying to find a clean one that I can actually work on and have a long-term project. So we'll go ahead and look at that when we get to the, you know, meet up with this person right now. So one of the reasons why I decided to go with the Sportcross 2, I think they only made like 3,000 of them from 2002 to 2005. So it's a pretty rare vehicle, and just trying to find one for sale, especially across the country, that one's just as hard as finding a manual. I think I found like 3 or 4 of them across the country from varying prices. I think anywhere from like 6,000 up to like 15 or 16,000. There was a clean one online that I saw. And then one of the hard things to find about them is the one with black interior. So the one I'm looking at today has got black interior. Most of the ones I see, even in white or in a darker color, they have like that tan interior, which, you know, nobody that mods cars likes the tan interior. So finding the black interior wagon is pretty hard too. So I'm happy it was that one. With that car too, I mean, it's got a 2JZ in it, which basically a super motor, and just to get horsepower of it, getting like 300 to 400 horsepower of it is pretty easy bolt-on upgrades, like bolt-on turbos and all that. So that's one of the reasons why I'm deciding to go for this for a kind of a long-term project. The only thing that is missing is manual, but I'm going to be looking into that conversion kit on that one, and that one can be had for pretty cheap because you know, there's a lot of options for transmissions for the 2JZ out there. So you know, once I find one that's a pretty good deal and get all the parts, I can collect the parts over time and kind of do that upgrade. I'm not in a hurry to do it. I think the hardest thing I was looking at trying to find was maybe a transmission tunnel, that little piece, because the shifter sits a little higher if you go with the stock transmission. If you go with one of the other transmission options, you might not need that transmission tunnel, but you still have to kind of cut around that transmission tunnel area to fit some of the other transmission options. So I'm excited to get into that and figure that out over the next couple of years, just messing with this car. Oh yeah, made the deal on this car. So check it out, it's gunmetal, pretty good shape for the year it's in. It's already lowered on Megans. It's got some Koenig 3-piece wheels, which I wasn't expecting. I thought these were some cheap wheels. So overall, pretty happy with it. Got it for a pretty good price. Pretty clean. You know, I'll go over the full review on this once I get into it, but gotta get this baby home now. Driving this baby home now. So it drives pretty good. So shout out to Anna and William for selling me this car. They really took, you know, if you're watching this, you guys really took good care of this vehicle. I mean, I went over it with a fine-tooth comb. I ran the codes on it, and everything looks pretty good on it. So the car, even though it's that gunmetal color, the original color on this car was actually blue. So William, the last owner of this, said he bought it from someone that had painted it blue. So they painted everything blue except for the engine bay, and then inside the sunroof, inside the sunroof gym, looks like they forgot to do that. when they were painting the car, but you know, it's not a big deal. It really blends in anyways. The blue on this car, especially in those areas where it's not clear coated, is not that shiny, and when it's dirty it looks like gunmetal or the gray color without the clear on it. Overall, I think I got a pretty good deal. I mean, it's got some maintenance issues I gotta take care of. The front main seal is leaking some oil. It needs a timing belt service. I don't think this thing's, it might be on its original timing belt. It's got almost 200,000 miles, so who knows if the last person changed that 100. So I'm definitely gonna do that. It was one of my first things on the list to do. The back bumper was hit in a minor accident. I'll show you guys that later when we do a walk around in the car. So that's mostly cosmetic. It didn't look like anything was structurally wrong. So you know, everything else is your typical, you know, what you're gonna expect out of an 18-year-old car. The interior of this car is pretty much spotless. I mean, yeah, they took really good care of this interior. We don't have a melting dash problem on here, which is a freaking big plus. The dash is pretty much mint, you know, out of like 2001, 2002 versions of this car, so that's good. I know the versions after 2002 are notorious for all that melting dash on this car. So overall, you know, once I get this home tomorrow, we'll look through it and see, you know, all the cosmetic stuff on it, and you know, we'll go over that. So here's the car during the daylight. Looks pretty good. I just can't believe they sprayed this car a stock, I think it's the graphite gray pearl, and it used to be the Intensa blue pearl, which they should have kept the Intensa blue. It would have been worth way more money. So I think I mentioned earlier there was some minor cosmetic. The car got rear-ended near the bumper, and it scratched up some of that bumper, so I'm gonna have to refinish that bumper. I'm debating whether I'm gonna do it myself or take it to a shop. I'll see how it looks after I prep it and get it ready. But yeah, I mean, overall, I think the paint job's probably like a 6 out of 10. They kind of did a half-ass job. A lot of tape up areas, like around the door handles here. Other than that, I mean, inside the car, everything was done pretty well as far as the door gems go and all the edges, you know, but for most people, they would never notice that this car is repainted. Inside the trunk and everything is pretty clean. They kept it pretty stock. I mean, it still has all the original jack tools and all the stuff that's in the spare tire well, so that's a good sign. The car was very well maintained. I've gone through the car. I've got few broken clips. This is a very common broken clip here. Unfortunately, they don't sell this thing separately. I saw on the IS forum that some guy had these 3D printed. He had them custom catted up and 3D printed, but both of these are pretty much loose and ready to break, which is expected on this car. You know, after 18 years, some of these clips right here are going. So I'm gonna have to go through and do a lot of maintenance on this car as far as just a little ins and outs. The interior on this car is freaking clean as hell. I mean, it came with a good option package. So this one's actually got the Navi and everything, which is uncommon on this car, I think. So it does have that pop-up Navi in the center, which, I mean, it's pretty much useless now in 2020. And I think I'd rather have that spot as like a pop-up for storage or something, but I'll see how that goes and what I end up doing with that Navi system as I work on this car. The Alcantara leather it's in good condition. It's always been maintained and tinted, so it hasn't discolored that much. I think the front seats and the front door panels, you usually see these things are like bluish and purplish. So other than that, I mean, you know, just your normal wear on that leather. The actual leather and vinyl parts are pretty good condition, and they've been well taken care of in here. So under the hood, you can kind of see they didn't repaint that, but you can't really tell from the gray to the blue that's uncleared under the hood. These came with Megan coilover, so that was a big plus when I was looking at this car. Big issue that this car has is it's got an oil leak in the front main seal. So when I was driving this home, it was getting all over the exhaust manifold and kind of burning up and smelling, and then when I stopped, it actually smoked because of all the oil that's building up. So underneath right now, I've got a bunch of cardboard. You can kind of see right through the engine there. I actually am missing the lower cover on this, so I got to order a lower cover. I got to order a bunch of little minor maintenance things on here. I'm going to end up converting this to the pumps. I don't really like this stick and the way that it's designed to go into that spot there. And as far as the maintenance goes, I just ordered a full timing belt, water pump, seal kit that's going to come pretty much all OEM except for a few of the more expensive parts. I think the water pump I just got an Ison, which is actually an OEM part. And I think the only other aftermarket part was the guide bearing, which was still a Koyo, which is OEM anyways, and it's coming from an OEM dealer. So the one come up I had on these was, I thought these were cheap wheels when I first saw them in the photos because I didn't get a up close look. After talking to the owner I bought it from, he actually bought these through a JDM importer, so they're actually SSR Koenigs, not to be confused with the cheap Koenig brand in the US here, but they're 3-piece welded wheels, 40 hole pattern, and these are 18-inch staggered, and they're actually worth like $2,000 in good condition. So that's really a big come up on that. And the rear had new tires on it, and the front has pretty good tires too. I mean, they're cheap tires. I think the front's got Achilles and the rear's got the Acceleras. So those aren't, you know, they're not the best tires in the world, but you know, they're good enough for what they are. The one thing I was kind of disappointed in was the clearance of the brake caliper here. I really wanted to upgrade these to the newer IS 350 calipers and rotors, but I think the clearance on the front is going to be a big issue because right now it barely clears this IS 300 caliper, and even if I moved it further out, the spoke design is going to be very tight. I'd have to run a spacer, probably like a 1/2-inch spacer, to clear the IS 350 rotors and calipers. I mean, that's unfortunate on the clearance on these wheels. I mean, they're nice wheels. They just need a bit of maintenance, you know, because the center caps, I got to redo the gel coat on here, probably end up polishing that and putting new epoxy over it, clear epoxy. The whole face probably needs to be taken apart and refinished, repowder coated. All the wheel lips will probably have to get polished. I mean, I've polished lips before, and I have a feeling I'd rather send these off and pay someone like $500 to do it. Hey guys, thanks for tuning in all the way to the end of this video. On introducing this new project that we have for the channel. Yeah, I'm new to the whole 1IS thing, so this is all new to me. I've always had that, you know, this 2IS, and I've had Hondas and other cars, but I've never had the 1IS, even though I've always wanted a 1IS. And I've done a lot of research and just read up on it, but you know, if you guys have any ideas on where I should start with this build, go ahead and leave a comment on this video and see where this build goes. My main list when I originally got this car was I wanted to convert it to manual. I wanted to do a turbo kit of some sort. I wanted to change the head out to the GTE head, which is a turbo head out of the Supra. So those are kind of the 3 things I've got for the long term for this car, but I also want to do the cosmetic stuff. I don't know about the wheels. It's got good wheels now, so I don't know if I want to go 19s or do I want to build these to 19s. Or, so, you know, give me some suggestions there. As far as body kit goes, I'm not sure if I want to body kit this. I know the front bumper is a little different than the sedan, and the rear bumper is obviously different. So I don't know if I want to put a sedan or a JDM bumper on it or leave the bumper that's on there. So if you think that bumper on there is not, you know, nice, the Sportcross bumper, or should I think about getting another bumper for that? So just, you know, make some suggestions there. Interior wise, I think interior is pretty good on here. I might do some little things here and there, but other than that, I think that's all I know right now about the 1IS. Just go ahead and leave a comment if you have any ideas. Don't forget, I've got the merch right now on the Teespring store, so check that out on the link up here somewhere, and then also down in the description. You know, I've got this shirt, and you know, this is the dark version with the white. I've also got the white with the dark, and then you got sweatshirts, you've got various grade t-shirts and all that. So, you know, just check that out if you guys are interested in these shirts. And I'm going to work on some new designs and some different designs to put on there. Maybe one with the Sportcross on there. I don't know. Once I get some time to do that, I'll post up some designs for that if I got time to work on that. But other than that, if you guys want to follow this build, if you're new to the channel, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. If you like this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up. Anyways, I'll talk to you guys next time in the next car video.